Hey everyone, this is Pramita here. This is going to be a tutorial of sorts on how to make use of your junk mail envelopes. So I did do a kind of live on my Facebook group. I'll post a link to my group below. So if you're interested in joining a journaling group, you can check this out. And I have shown how you can use your junk mail pages, to make some collage pages with your scraps, of course. And I did make an envelope using scraps. So I'm going to show today how you can use up your scraps and repurpose your junk mail envelopes into something usable. So the first thing we need are a junk mail envelope, and you don't need to have a clear window kind, but I kind of like this, so I am taking this, a glue stick, and of course a ton of scraps. So let me start. Now when I'm doing a project like this, I don't tend to think too much, because I found that now this is a scrap piece where I've already written some stuff. I don't want this piece, but I do want to use this girl, so I might chop off this part and use the rest. So you can use like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start gluing this part up. Now this edge is not straight. I am not concerned with that right now, because towards the end I'm going to trim it a little bit. So I want this figure to be over here. So I'm just going to start gluing up. You'll see this is a very simple stuff, you can say, of using up your scraps. I hope I'm in the vision. Yeah. So I'm just gluing up this part, and you can use up tons of your scraps if you plan to repurpose in this manner. So I'm just going to glue this. I want to keep the girl totally in view, so I'm going to do it like so. So it's like so, as you can see. Now when the time comes, I might trim this off, or I might turn this around and put it like a border. I might do so. So I'm going to work on both the sides if it comes to that. So this part is covered. Now I can put a little bit of this. Okay, so I have some punched flower over here. Okay, one thing I can do, I have this window. I'm trying to keep the window intact, so I'll just glue up this part. Sorry. So I'm just trying to glue up this part. And I will trim this part up because I don't want this to go. So this is like so. I just have this little bit. I'll cover this up with tiny scraps left over from some project. So I'm going to cover this up, and you'll see you'll be able to use up a lot of scraps in this way and make good use of your junk envelope. So it's coming to some kind of semblance. Okay, and then I might use this paper. I'm just going to eyeball that, so I'm going to use it like so. So I'm just going to use it like so. If you're new to my channel, then you'll be horrified at how I just strip off paper without scissors or anything of that sort. So I'm just going to put this behind because I want the bird to show through, like so. Yeah, so now this part is nearly done. I still have a little tiny bit to work on, so I can fix that. I can just tear a little piece and put it over here if I so desire, or else you can leave it like that, you know. So I'm going to stick this and I'm going to pull this at the back. Sometimes it works out fine, sometimes you have to trim this part up. So that's that, and this part of the envelope is nearly done, and I'm going to trim off this extra bit that I have over here, as you can see. Done. And I'm also going to trim off a little bit of this part. So now you can see how well this is looking, and on this part I'm going to put this border once again, just to or I might add this. This is becoming too matchy. I don't want that. I don't like too much matching stuff, and I'll be using something from my stash maybe. So I have this scrap of paper. I can put this over here, and yeah, so I'm going to put it over here and glue it up. So I'm going to cover this part up, and you'll see. So I'm keeping the window intact. I'm not doing anything to that. I'm working around it so that it remains intact, and later on we can do something about that. So my this part is done, and now I'm going to take my scissors and trim off the excess. So here you can see I have a little bit of excess. I want to trim this off, so I'm using my scissors and I'm going to trim this part off. So that's done, and the front part is looking like so. So I kind of like it, and I'll be using some other papers also. You can use your bits of washi tape also. I'm going to layer this paper on top. But I'm not going to use the whole strip. I'm just going to use a little bit, because I don't want this to be, I want this bird bit, a little one, to peek through sort of thing. So I'm just going to tear this. So I'm going to put this over here, the bird paper, and maybe I'm going to use this floral part. So it's like so. I can layer this on top of this. So that's the beauty of working with a glue stick, and I would prefer a glue stick over a liquid glue, because sometimes what happens is the liquid glue crumples or curls up the paper a little bit if your papers are not of very good quality. So to be on the safe side, it's better to work with. Now I am not trimming these papers off. As you can see, I'm just folding these papers, because I'll work with them on the other side. So now I need to trim this part off too, because this is too much. I don't need this. Okay, so I don't need this, but I would like to glue this part up. But this is a very thick paper from Prima, and when you're making a collage sort of thing with your leftover pages and stuff like that, not only do you decorate the envelope or the paper or whatever, you're making it sturdier because you're adding papers to it. So your junk envelopes become sturdier and good to be used in your journals, in your happy mails. Now I'd like to add this to this part. So I'm adding this and I'll add this. I'll go back with a lot of a few ideas that you can do. So I already have the front side more or less done. This is it, and I will do the back side. Now I do have a few papers. Something fell down. Okay, so I do have a few papers that I can use, but I don't want. Okay, so I have an odd shaped paper like this. I can use this. I think this will go pretty well. So this is a big sheet of, not too big but big enough. So I'm going to use this. So I'm going to use this like so, and I'm just going to flatten this up a little bit. So I have the success part. Now I don't need this, so I can trim this off. Now I'm going to trim this off like so because I choose to do so. So now I have this bird paper. I like this bird paper a lot, so I'm going to use this on top to cover that empty space, and I'm going to put some glue over here. So now my envelope is coming to shape, sort of, and I have a little bit of pink strip left over, so I can use that. We are coming towards the end of the tutorial, and that's that. And you can use more of your scraps if you so desire, just to cover up this empty space. And that's done. And now you have a tiny bit left over here, so this can be used. So I'm going to glue this part up. Okay, so that's nearly done, and I have this bit extra, so I'm going to trim this part off, the extra bits, whatever is left, and you'll see how it turns out. So this is my finished junk journal envelope with scraps collaged on top. So I will also show you how to add a few embellishments in the next part, maybe, whereby we are going to show how you can decorate a little bit more. Oh, this is not focusing. So how you can decorate a little bit more. Okay, so now my envelope is done. As you can see, I'm going to trim this part off. Sorry. And where you're done with this, so your envelope is done, and now you can decorate this. Let me see if I have, yeah, so I have this word secret garden. I would like to put this over here, so I'm just going to trim this part off and trim this and use it over here as an ephemera. Okay, so and I'm going to just glue this part It's going to be a very quick one. You can stamp over these, you can use whatever stickers you have maybe. So I'm going to add that. And you have your envelope done. So in the second part, if you want, I can show you how you can add ephemera and stickers to it. Now the envelope is nearly done, needs to dry a little bit, and then we can work on the second part of this. So bye now, stay tuned for the second part. Bye.